I'm really excited today to be speaking with Lowell Dean, the writer director of Die Alone. Lowell, thanks so much for taking the time. I really do appreciate it.
Thank you for chatting with me about Die Alone.
Honestly, it is so much fun. The film's an absolute blast. I got to ask, where did it come from? Where did it start?
That's a good question. I mean, it's a couple things. I just like was at a point a few years ago where I was sick of technology and I wanted to I romanticized being in isolation away from everybody in the middle of nowhere. And then obviously we all lived through a real isolation, so it became less fun. But I think it became relatable and it helped get the movie made. And another big factor was just I love time loop movies, and this isn't a time loop movie per se, but I like the idea of someone having to wake up every day and relearn that it's the end of the world.
Yeah, I love that aspect of it. It there were some shades of Memento in that a little bit in some ways,
Absolutely.
where he's continually piecing it together as well. I mean, I see this is a trick about doing interviews like this because there's so many things I want to ask you, and I want to spoil the
Yeah,
film
I
because
know.
there's beautiful twists in it.
It's a movie full of mysteries and surprises, and I think you can enjoy it as a straightforward thriller, post-apocalyptic creature movie. But I do think that's just the window dressing to the deeper mystery and character-driven story.
Absolutely, and this is one of those films that sticks with you not because of being a creature feature. Like that's what makes it work is these
Hmm.
relationships that are going on under the surface. But I want to talk to you first about the creatures because plant-based zombies are not something that we have seen, or at least we don't see very often. So where'd you get the idea for that?
It was just like trying to come up with a new form of an apocalypse. And I mean, we had seen certain kind of viruses, like a rage-driven virus or a different kind of driven virus. So for me, I just wanted to do something I felt I hadn't seen. And there was such a concern around climate change. It was hovering in the air as I was writing this. And the idea of like, like it's again hard to discuss, but like it was very symptomatic to this virus became about like nature. So I love the idea of nature taking back the planet and repurposing people. And then when you have that as your basis for your creatures, it kind of becomes what would that even look like? So we have different stages of like, early infection might just be like maybe you've got some leaves sprouting out of your hair and you don't dead eyes. And by the end, though, maybe you get to have some people walking around who look more like a bush or a tree than a human.
It's such a unique look, and I really think I think it adds to the film. And I love the conversation about whether or not we deserve it. I think that's a really interesting conversation to have in the context of this film, especially like you said, with Earth striking back.
Yeah.
Um,
I mean, it's like an open-ended conversation. Like I try not to say this is one thing or the other thing, and there's talk of religion in the film and so on. I don't want to be like too preachy, but I did like the idea of making the movie have a conversation about like, are people good? Do we deserve to live and die? Because we've lived through some bleak times lately,
yeah. Oh my gosh, in especially the last few years.
and we don't always seem to learn. So, as a species,
Yes, that seems to be that's an annoying part of our species. It
yeah,
really is.
it's like we have amnesia.
Yeah. I see what you did there. But no, actually, I'm glad you said that because I mean, Ethan is living in this unique personal hell
Yeah.
um, with losing his memory every day. But I was wondering in your mind, because certainly the metaphor of his experience goes deeper than that. But what in your mind is his real hell? What is the worst part for him?
Not being with Emma, like he loves his girlfriend. I think she's his rock. I think they, to quote another movie, complete each other. So
Mm.
I think he's become reduced to kind of a lost puppy. He has one simple goal. He's it's just find her, find her. His whole existence, unfortunately, because of his amnesia, is limited to that one simple action: find her.
Well, with that being said, I was wondering what your thoughts were, and maybe because is the do you think that maybe one of our greatest struggles in society today is loneliness? Because it seems like
Yeah,
everybody here is just lost.
that's absolutely true. I think like we're I think it's ironic and obvious, but we've never been more connected and more apart. Like everybody can talk to everybody, but you go into any one room where five people are there and they're all on their phones. So I think and it's part of what I love about going to the theater and seeing movies is because at least we're all looking up and having a communal emotional experience and laughing together, being scared together, or having a realization together. So, I mean, I know we're not all facing each other talking, but I would rather be in a theater with people than in a room on my phone.
No, and I think you're right on. I think there's something to that here because you're all engaging together. Even if you're not engaging one another, you're engaging the same content together, which I think is there's something powerful and unique about that in a theater. Um, and I love the use of the phone in this film without saying too much. There's just like this beacon of hope.
Yeah.
It's the cell phone. Um, in
And
a
then, it's like I would say the original germ of an idea was me just wishing I was standing on a hill and I could drop my phone and just step on it. It's like that's what I'd love to do. So that was the impetus for the phone being such a catalyst in the film.
yeah, yeah, I see what you're saying. I wanted to ask you too about a specific line in the film. Again, I'm not giving context, but one of the comments is that hope is dangerous. And I wondered how you felt about that because I mean, certainly this is a post-apocalyptic world. People are looking for connection, but the concept of hope being dangerous. I wondered what you thought.
I think it is, but I think sometimes we need it. I think it's like the only thing that keeps us going, like not to be too metaphorical, but like I realize this movie is like a metaphor for my life. It's like I kind of have blinders on and I spent 10 years trying to get the movie made. I was just like walking in like I had amnesia every day, being like, will you make this movie? Will you help me? Will you help me? Every day, like rejection, no. And my partner, who's actually the producer of the film, had to every day, you know, be around me and help me and, try and fight the battle to bring it to life. So I think hope is dangerous. And I think there were many days where my desire to make this movie made me super bummed, and I'd be depressed and I'd think, I'm never going to make it. I should quit. But here I am talking to you now and it exists and it's going to be in theaters. So, I mean, I would say I'm not a pessimist, so I don't think hope is dangerous. Uh, but I do think I when I wrote the line, I must have thought it was.
Well, and this is an interesting aspect of the film too, is because it's not hopeless. It's dark. It's, we're in a world where it's not getting any better. I think they actually say that at one point. I could be wrong. It's not improving.
Mhm.
But the film still has an element of hope within it, which I think is really interesting and certainly rooted with his love for Emma, urging him forward. Honestly, Lowell, the film is an absolute joy. It's such a blast. What do you hope audiences take away from Die Alone?
Um, it's weird. It's a little bleak, I know, but I hope they feel like slightly moved, whether it's like happiness or sadness. I hope when it ends, they're like, "Oh, that was different," and I do hope they want to see it again because, like, we worked uh, obsessively hard. I know everyone who makes a movie says that, but we we looked at every angle and every scene, and so many people poured so much love into building it, designing it, creating it, and then editing it. So I'm sick of it. I can't look at it again. But I really believe this movie merits more than one screening, and I hope if you even halfway like it, you watch it again. And I think the second time you'll pick up on so many things that it'll be a different movie for you.
Yeah, absolutely. Die Alone, but screen again. There you go.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Honestly, Lowell, thank you so much for the time. I really appreciate it. And congratulations on the film because, like I said, it's so much fun.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you for the chat.
Absolutely. Have a great day.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Thanks.
Don't worry, like you never stopped.